Thanks for downloading another segment from the Best of the Classic Metal Show. The Classic Metal Show is heard live on Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. And now here's another piece of Classic Metal Show history on the Best of the Classic Metal Show.
The Classic Metal Show.
Right back here on the Classic Metal Show. That is a brand new band that just makes me happy because they're not kissing ass in any way, shape, or form. They're bringing metal back the old way. That was a band called Hatchet with a song called Sealed Fate. And a guy that's ready to seal our fate right now, it's the one and only vocalist of Hatchet, Marcus Kirchen. Marcus, how you doing, man?
I'm fucking great, dude. How are you doing, man?
Excellent, bro. Well, dude, obviously with your band Hatchet and with the Awaiting Evil album, if this album proves anything, it proves that thrash metal is alive and kicking, man. Want to congratulate you right off the bat for doing it old school and doing it well.
Thank you very much, man.
Well, dude, I guess the obvious place to start is, you know, maybe get a little bit of a history of the band and maybe find out what it was that drove you guys to do, you know, very traditional thrash metal out of the vein of, you know, bands like Slayer or Exodus or whatnot.
Well, dude, we started back in '06. A couple of the guys were playing like in a death metal band, and they said, you know, let's go back to the roots, really, like what we're about, because they were listening to a lot of stuff like Slayer and like Forbidden and all the Bay Area stuff, you know, that we grew up with, and basically they ran some ads looking for you know, like a singer and a guitarist and all that, and they found me. I hit them up. It was like a classified ad. It said, you know, thrash metal, Slayer, Sepultura, Bay Area thrash, and I said, well, damn, that's me right there. So I went in and tried out, and I sang a couple songs with them, and that's pretty much how it's been going since '06. We had Sterling. He joined right around the same time as me, and then Dan came a couple months later. We were actually playing shows like without a bass player. We actually recorded our first demo without a bass player, so there's no bass on it. It just sounds really, you know, guitar driven. Once we got him on a recording, we did a little EP with Dan. It was called just Poser Crushing Apocalyptic Assault. Appropriately titled, anyways. So we got him on there on the recording, and Metal Blade got a hold of that, and they checked us out also on our MySpace, and that's when we got in contact with them. And now, about a year later, here we are putting out our debut album.
Well, dude, I have to ask you, man. I mean, clearly in today's musical environment, I mean, what you guys are doing is the anti-metal almost to the trendy crap that, you know, is being called metal today. Your Kill Switch Engage type of music. You know, what was it that made you guys choose to do, you know, old school 80s styled thrash metal, you know, when clearly you're going to have to work that much harder to get your name out?
Well, when Hatchet started, you know, we pretty much set out to destroy that shit. I mean, I'm sorry for swearing or whatever, but, you know, we're very disgusted by that music, and we're also very, you know, distraught that a lot of these bands are calling themselves thrash metal, and we kind of wanted to give an accurate, you know, display of what real metal is to us, and sick of the melodic sort of, you know, singing emo style they also try to incorporate in that. It's kind of disgusted us. We're going, you know, we're sitting back, we're seeing like King Diamond, and we see a bunch of these metalcore bands open, and we're like, what happened to metal nowadays? You know, like all these kids are getting the false representation of what it's truly about. And we realized, you know, from when we started, it was never going to be easy. A lot of the bigger promoters still don't even want to look at us because we're just a thrash metal band in their eyes. But, you know, we're true to our roots, and, you know, we're not going to change our sound for anybody. We love what we do, and, you know, we're very happy to be doing what we're doing. So I'm grateful for everything that is happening right now. It's not like a bad thing.
Well, Marcus, man, I'm curious. You know, obviously you're a fan from way back that's probably been listening since you were old enough to listen to metal and thrash. And I've always thought, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong or not, but I've always thought the reason that metal went into such a, you know, push direction as it has the last 10 years or so really had a lot to do with the fact that the originators of thrash, you know, your Metallicas, your Megadeth, whatever, really went soft and went for radio play, you know, and it basically forced this style of music underground because they got so popular. Do you think that that's true?
I do think that is true to an extent. I mean, a lot of the bands did go for the commercial side, and that really hurt thrash. You know, it took away the aggressive edge, and a lot of people kind of gave up on it and wanted to move on to more extremes. But, you know, there's bands like that were playing all throughout the 90s that are just really heavy bands. You know, there's a lot of underground bands that are really like cults, I guess you would say, that kept it going. And it's weird that just as of recently, a lot of people have been picking up on thrash metal. It's like thrash is back and that whole thing. And it's like, well, yeah, thrash never went away. It's just, you know, like the originators they did kind of push out and go for all that attention.
It does seem that, you know, your band and bands like Fueled by Fire, Bonded by Blood, you know, there's quite a few Warbringer, there's quite a few thrash bands that are out and actually getting getting their records out there and getting a little bit of exposure right now. Does it seem to you like it is coming back or getting stronger than it's been in the last 10, 15 years?
It's definitely getting stronger. The audience range is definitely getting bigger and more broad. I mean, there's kids, you know, who are growing up like probably 12 or 13, like when I was getting into music, and they're probably checking us out and seeing like, okay, thrash metal is like, they like it, you know, it's heavy. It's probably, I think it's a good thing because it's definitely put a hush. I haven't really heard much from some of those metalcore bands lately. I mean, it seems like they're kind of falling out, you know, it's like the trend is dying and thrash metal's kind of coming back here. My only worry is, you know, I don't want it to become like the next trend, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of bands are jumping on the bandwagon right now. They see like thrash is hot, and I mean that could really hurt us, or that could make us better. And I think if we just keep the originality up, you know, because that's kind of also what killed thrash, was a lot of bands started just sounding exactly the same, and that's when you lose interest, when it's just becoming generic, you know. I think the aggressive edge and the originality, I think that needs to really be brought out in thrash to make it stronger. I think we do a good job of doing that because we incorporate all sorts of different sounds of metal into our style. We don't just strictly play aggressive thrash, you know. We also have some Iron Maiden style riffs and like some Judas Priest sort of influence going on.
The one influence that I notice a lot, especially in the guitars, and especially to be really specific in the guitar soloing, is there's just old school Rain and Blood Slayer all over the guitars, man. Is your guitar guys, are they big Slayer guys?
Yeah, definitely. Julian is like a Slayer fanatic. He loves all that shit, like Rain and Blood and Hell Awaits and fucking, I don't know, even Seasons of the Abyss or whatever. He's really into all that stuff. It really shows in his guitar playing. The song like Storm the Gates, you know, I hear a direct like Slayer influence in that. And I remember when we first wrote that, I was like, dude, this sounds like fucking Slayer or something heavy, dude. It just makes me want to rage. Kids come up to us too, they're like, you guys fucking, your music makes me want to kick someone's ass. And I'm like, well, good, then we're doing the right thing. And that's what Slayer does to me, so I mean, fuck.
Well, dude, with Awaiting Evil, man, obviously it came out on Metal Blade. certainly, you've got a lot of history with that label to live up to, man. Any kind of nervousness at all? Because you basically the last 10 years, Metal Blade has been the premier label for keeping real metal alive.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not nervous at all. I think we're gonna do great, and they're already been treating us very well down there. We're gonna live up to what our expectations are, and that's just to tour and get out there and fucking build a fan base, hopefully, and keep thrash metal strong, and make sure that the trends doesn't ever become a trend, and make sure that we build like a family here and make this thing strong. But there are still the old bands going on and stuff, but this is a new generation, and these kids, we all need something here, because otherwise there's going to be no metal scene.
Well, with the old bands, man, since you brought them up, I mean, would that be the opportune tour for you, though, to get out there and maybe tour with, I don't know, Testament or Exodus or Death Angel or a band like that has never really given up on the thrash sound, but would put you guys in front of 500, 600, 700 people a night instead of starting 10 fans at a time?
Yeah, it would be cool. We'd be stoked on the idea of doing that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of bands out there who are just trying to get on those, and it's hard to get on those big band tours, and I think we have to prove ourselves first. Now, I'm not worried about playing to a small amount of people, because I think we're going to be able to build our following by doing that, by playing and seeing the crowds multiply. And that's really what we want. We want a strong Hatchet following. We don't just want to be a band known as trying to carry on test. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to describe, but I mean, we just want to build our own thing, and we don't want to latch on to the old bands. As much as we love Testament, which is a huge influence on us, it would be so rad to tour with them. I think that realistically, we're going to have to get out there and kick some ass ourselves first to show that we're just as good.
You're not trying to be lumped into a genre that people know from 25 years ago.
The old school bands they're great bands, and we love them, but we don't want to be known as a Testament copy or anything like that. We definitely have different qualities as well, and our performance, I think, just I don't want to say anything, but our youthful presence, is just as good as them in the 80s.
Well, the new album is called Awaiting Evil. The band is called Hatchet. And, dude, what am I missing that you want fans to know?
Well, I don't know. I mean, heavy metal rules. Don't already know. And you kick ass.
Well, dude, I have to ask you what is known as the traditional classic metal show question. We ask everybody this question, and we get all kinds of answers, and we'll see what you've got. How has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
Whoa, dude, I love Motorhead. That's my favorite band. Bombers is one of my all-time favorite albums, and they're I saw them live, dude. They must have been the loudest fucking band I've ever heard in my life. They were so loud, my ears were ringing for a week after, and I was right up front watching them, dude. I loved every moment, dude. I love Motorhead.
Well, dude, as a tradition on the Classic Metal Show, we always let the artist pick a closing track. So, what song would you like us to end the interview with, and maybe tell us a quick story about it?
You want from the Hatchet record?
Sure, or whatever you want to pick.
Or any record. All right. Let's go with Exodus, Bonded by Blood. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. Paul Bailoff is probably the craziest dude ever. Exodus is just the heaviest band of all time, heaviest album right there, and it shows what the Bay Area thrash movement is all about and what we're about up here, and all of us are brothers, and we're in this together. I just want to give a shout out to all my other friends from the Bay Area, my friends bands like Fog of War and Zombie Holocaust, because you guys have helped us in so many different ways. Anyways, Exodus, Bonded by Blood.
All right, here it is. It's Exodus right here on your Classic Metal Show.
Thanks for checking out the Best of the Classic Metal Show. You can tune into the Classic Metal Show live every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com.